Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we are doing a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. I have everything I need from brows to lip gloss and everything in between to do a complete face. And I don't know if I've done a full face of Charlotte Tilbury on my channel. I teamed up with Charlotte Tilbury, which is super exciting for me because they truly are one of my favorite top brands. Like they are in my top 2, top 3 brands because everything that they release I feel like is a hit. I definitely have some favorites that I use all the time, but even if a product of theirs doesn't hit for me personally, it's still a good product. They just release just standout products, and I love the brand, so I'm super excited to team up with them. So thank you, Charlotte Tilbury. I also want to mention that the Charlotte Tilbury summer sale is happening now through July 17th with up to 40% off bundles and up to 50% off the mystery box. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I don't have anything on my face right now. We are gonna start first by prepping my skin. I applied my normal skincare this morning, but my skin definitely needs a little extra skincare love, and I'm gonna go in with one of their like cult classic products. It's the Magic Cream. This is a really beautiful, rich moisturizer. You can use it morning or night. I'm just gonna use a little bit of this since I did already prep my skin this morning, and I just wanna kind of rehydrate the skin a little bit. This product really kind of lights up the skin and gives a really healthy supermodel glow. And I'm just gonna put a thin layer and really work it into the skin. Oh, look at that, very, very beautiful. Next, we're going in with the Beautiful Skin Foundation, and I have the shade 4 Neutral. And I'm gonna start with a very light layer of this. I'm just gonna do about 1 pump. It doesn't disperse a whole lot in that first pump, so we're gonna apply this, see how much we need, go back and add a little bit if we need a little bit more. I'm gonna go from my brush to my hand, and then to the skin. I like to apply foundation this way versus kind of dotting it all over the face and then going to blend. And the reason I like to do that is because I have more control over how much product I apply. I always like to start with little bitty sheer layers. I really try to avoid applying more product than I need, and I don't really know how much product I'm gonna need. You know, some days I need more, some days I need less, so doing it this way really allows me to build in little layers versus applying way too much and then just being forced to blend that out. I definitely want to apply more. I'm gonna go in and do 2 pumps actually. Got 2 pumps here. This is a really nice lightweight formula. When I'm blending it into my skin, it actually just looks like skin. This is a good color for me. I honestly could have gone up even a little darker because of summer and I've got a pretty nice tan going on. We've been outside a lot, the lake, the beach. When I tan, I tend to hold on to my tan for a while, and we just got back from the beach like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is nice. So this is giving me a good kind of medium coverage as I build it. I'm not getting a full coverage from this foundation, which is nice and okay. To conceal under the eyes and also add a little more coverage around the face where I need it, I have a little blemish here I'm gonna cover. I'm using the Magic Away Liquid Concealer. This is like a concealer pen. And this is my favorite formula of their concealers. This is a brand new tube, so I'm gonna twist it up until I get the product out. And I am the shade 6 Medium. So I'm gonna go straight from the sponge to the eye. I'm just gonna kind of dot this where I want the product. I always like to go in the inner corner and then kind of right here on the outer corner. Usually what I find is I can spread what's here in the inner corner underneath the eye. Rather than applying it all the way underneath the eye, you tend to apply more product than you need. And I'm gonna start with a little bit and then work my way up. This is a good color. It's not too light. It actually, if anything, looks a little too dark, but that peachy tone to it is really gonna help neutralize and cancel out any darkness under the eye for me. I'm just gonna use my finger, honestly, to blend this out. I don't think I need a brush. This formula is nice. It's hydrating. It's not heavy, but it gives great coverage. Okay, so now that I have that spread, I am gonna go in with a concealer brush and just kind of blend out the edges right here in the inner corner, take it on top of the eye. It has more of a radiant finish underneath the eye, so it's not gonna look dry or matte. I do wanna go and add a little more right here. I think I need it, and I'm also gonna conceal this little spot here. And I'm gonna do a little bit on my nose. I have a little pinkness there that the foundation didn't quite cover. So I've just gone and added concealer where I want more coverage, and then to conceal and correct any spots on the face. We'll start here under the eye first. This is a good formula to keep in your bag as a touch-up concealer. I generally don't touch up my concealer much throughout the day because concealer is really a product that less is more, and the more we layer and add, the more we tend to magnify fine lines, wrinkles, texture under the eye. So I try not to touch up my concealer, but with that said, sometimes we have to touch up our makeup because we have an event after work, or you know, whatever the case may be. And this is a good formula for that because it is lighter weight and it's not a real heavy formula. Yeah, that color is actually perfect. I probably would have, if I would have shopped for this in store, I probably would have grabbed a lighter color, but the depth of this color totally conceals and neutralizes the darkness. Sometimes when we use a concealer that's too light, which we tend to gravitate towards because we're like, oh, I want something brighter underneath my eye, we don't really conceal. We just create this almost kind of gray cast, like the look of a shadow underneath the eye, which looks slightly improved, but not what we're really going for, where this actually cancels and neutralizes everything. So nice. Now I was looking for my airbrush compact powder because I love that powder. It is my favorite touch-up powder to keep in my purse that's pressed. I couldn't find it. I must have it at home. So I grabbed their loose powder. This is the Magic Powder Under Eye and Face. This is the shade 1 Fair. This is a really nice loose powder to set underneath the eyes. I'm gonna just put a little bit into the lid, just a tiny bit. This color Fair has a slight like warm pinkish hue to it. And I'm just gonna take it and work it into the brush. And I'm gonna strategically set my face with this. I'm not gonna set all over. I'm gonna start on the forehead just to get most of that powder off there, and then I'm gonna work underneath my eye and press it underneath my eye to set the concealer, and then I'm also gonna set around the nose. I try and just powder the center of my face most days. I don't really need to powder everything else, but I do want this area to stay in place because this is the area that tends to get oily throughout the day for me or break up. This powder's nice. It just softly sets, mattifies in a real soft, natural way, but it doesn't look heavy. It has a little bit of color, but it doesn't really alter the shade of the foundation. If anything, it just slightly brightens, and it also smooths and blurs texture. So you can kind of run it on the cheeks if you want to smooth out any pores, which I am always up for. To fill in the brows, we're gonna use my favorite brow pencil. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift, and I like this brow pencil because it's kind of got a waxy texture to it, so it does a great job of laying down any wild brow hairs. I don't have thick brow hairs, they're thin, but they kind of grow in a funky way to where I need something with a little bit of grip to lay them down. If you don't have much brow at all and you're trying to create hair, the look of hair, you want to go with a more micro fine pencil. This one's thicker. I have hair, it's just very thin. There are some areas where I don't have it, like right here at the bulk. And so I will use the tip of this to kind of create that, but if you like to create that hair-like look more prominently, you want to go with a more of a micro fine tip. It is time for me to replenish this one. I think I'm at the very end and I can't sharpen it up anymore. Now, when it comes to warming up the skin, I love Charlotte Tilbury's cream bronzer in the shade medium. That's my shade. I have it at home. I don't have it here with me, so I grabbed their contour wand. I don't actually have a true bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury here in the studio, but this is gonna give me some definition to the face. It's more of a cooler tone, so it's really meant to contour the face, not necessarily bronze, but it'll accomplish what I want. I'm using a blush that's gonna give some warmth to the cheeks, so I think I can skip bronzer and just use the contour wand. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here, right here in the center of my ear, and I'm going to create a little line, stopping kind of right before the apple of my cheek starts. And then I'm also gonna run a little bit right here at the hairline. This, by the way, is the shade Fair Medium. And I am gonna run it down my nose, kind of thin out my nose a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna go and blend this in. I'm gonna use the same brush that I used to set underneath the eyes with powder, and we'll start over here. I'm just gonna press the brush onto the product. I try and start to blend out this way just so that I don't move that product all over the place and I really keep it in that area and just soften and blend out the edges. Once I've done that, then I'll kind of move the brush around to pull or drag the product where I want it, but that's about good. And this is a really, really soft contour. I could definitely go in and build and add a little more, but we're gonna keep things soft. The nose. Now with the nose, I am just gonna take my time and press the brush onto the product to blend out. If you really want to keep that contour tight, you can even use a blending eyeshadow brush to really blend that out. This color of this contour wand is nice. It's cool tone, but it's not too gray. I've heard from a lot of you that when you try and contour, you just get something too gray or muddy. This is the perfect color. It's like that good balance of cool and warm. Okay, perfect. So now I've created some soft structure to the face, very, very natural. I'm gonna go in and add a little more color to the cheeks. I'm using the Matte Beauty blush wand in the shade Pillow Talk. So even though this is matte, it doesn't have any shimmer to it, but it still is gonna give a nice pretty glow to the skin. And with these, especially with brand new tubes, I like to kind of use my hand to blot it off first, just so I make sure I don't apply too much product on the cheeks. Now I'm gonna apply 3 dots, I'm gonna smile, and I'm gonna start here at the top of the apple of my cheeks, and I'm gonna create a very soft kind of little curve right on my cheekbone. I mean, you can actually feel the cheekbone as I apply this up. Now I'm gonna take a angled blush brush. It's loose and soft, it's not very dense, so it's gonna do a great job of blending and shearing this out. And I'm just gonna press it on top of the product. If anything, I'll pull it down a little bit so it kind of lights up the apple of the cheek a bit. This product's really nice. It's very buildable. It's pretty foolproof, especially in these types of formulas, because it's not too pigmented. When you're using a liquid blush like this, I personally think you should find formulas that are buildable versus a lot of pigment. I know sometimes in makeup we're like, oh, this has so much pigment, it's so great. But so much pigment is not always great sometimes, especially in blush, liquid blush, because it can be very difficult to fix an over application. These are pretty foolproof. It's almost impossible to mess these up unless you are intentionally trying to apply too much. Perfect. Okay, I almost want to add a little more, so we're gonna go do that, and we're gonna put it right here, kind of more on the apple of the cheek. Perfect, look at that. And if you ever feel like you want to correct, like right here I've got a little too much, I'm just going to take my foundation brush. I'm not adding anything to it, I'm just taking the brush that I used to blend out my foundation. I'm just gonna bounce it on top of that area that I want to correct or erase. With these, make sure that you close them when you're done with them. So I turned it on to use it, but I'm gonna put it off to seal it up. Next, I'm going in with their cream shadow. This is the Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Champagne. These are really beautiful. They are cream shadows. You can obviously wear them alone. You don't need to pack on powder shadow on top of this, or you can use it as a primer like I am. The ones that have shimmer, I would recommend using a very, very light layer of these if you're gonna pack on shadow on top of it. So I just did a little dot and then I'm blending it out with my finger. I find your finger is a really great, honestly the best tool to apply cream shadows like this, because you can really shear it out. And I'm just gonna kind of run it from the lashes, kind of up to the brow. Just do a little dot and then blend it out. Charlotte Tilbury's cream shadows are the best in my opinion when it comes to shimmer ones. They really are very forgiving and beautiful on textured eyelids or drier eyelids or mature eyelids. I think there's this like misconception that you can't wear shimmer as you get a little bit older or as your eyelids start to show, you know, wrinkles or fine lines or crepiness, because shimmer tends to magnify that. But this formula is really beautiful. It lays very softly on the skin and it truly looks like light, kind of just reflecting off the lid. It's not a heavy, heavy shimmer at all. So you can see that I just did a very, very light layer. The key is very sheer layer. Use your fingers. They will work better than any brush. And this is coming from a brush maker. Just keeping it real, you guys. Okay, so next we're gonna go in with shadow, and I'm really excited to play with this palette for the first time. This is the Instant Eye palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever from Charlotte Tilbury, and I chose to pick this. I love all of her little quads. I have like 6 or 8 of them, the little quad palettes, and I love them, but I feel like you guys see a lot of that on my channel, so I thought it'd be fun to pick this up. You have a variety of shades in here, from really soft neutral shades to some color with that green. We're gonna work with that green today. Then you've got some warm kind of orangey shades, and then you've got these deeper matte shades here. There's a good variation of color, but also texture. You got some shimmer, you've got some eye toppers, and you've got some matte shadows. So we're gonna go in first, as I always do, and I'm gonna build my crease, my definition. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. It is the best shade in this palette to do that. And the reason for that being is because it's matte and it's neutral and it's slightly darker than my skin tone. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna create some definition in this crease, give my eye a little bit of a lift, and just give me a good starting point. I always recommend starting with your crease shade. And for my eye shape, I want to kind of lift the eye a little bit. I don't have a whole lot of lid space. So what I'm doing is I'm starting in the crease, but I'm looking directly straight ahead. I'm pretending like you're my mirror right now. And I'm blending upward. So I'm using my crease as a guide, but I'm not sticking in the crease. I'm really using the crease as a guide, but really blending and diffusing that shadow up, kind of just lifting the eye. These mattes are so nice. They're really consistent. Mattes of all powder shadows can be the trickiest sometimes. Sometimes they're patchy, or they're too pigmented, or they're not pigmented enough. This is just the perfect balance. You get enough pigment, it's consistent, it's almost like this velvety matte texture, and it blends out so easily. I feel like I'm elevating my voice. I'm just getting really excited over here. Today is one of those days. Do you ever have those days where you just really have a lot of fun with your makeup, and applying your makeup just brings you a lot of joy? joy. And then other days when you're like, yo, let's just put it on. Today is one of those days where I'm feeling very joyful applying my makeup today. I was so excited to film this video, truly. When I got the email that Charlotte Tilbury wanted to know if I wanted to work with them, I was like, yes, they're one of my favorite brands. So I was super excited. And I just knew that I could create some really fun content with a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. Okay. So now I've got my crease built. Also having that lightness on the lid that's shimmery and then a slightly darker shade in the crease, that also creates more definition, because what's happening here is that that light color and that shimmer is giving the illusion that that area is protruding, coming towards you, where the darker matte area gives the illusion of receding light. So you have this like, the lid's coming out, the crease is coming back, and now I have more definition to the eye versus like a flat surface, which is kind of what I felt like before. I had a little too much sodium yesterday, so my face was feeling it today. Okay, next we're gonna go in and I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna play with this green shade right here. It's a really pretty, kind of olivey, shimmery green. Look at that. I'm actually gonna use my finger since I have it on my finger. And I'm gonna place that right here. I'm gonna place it in the center of the lid, and I'm gonna use a brush to kind of blend it out. I'm basically just using my finger and tapping it right there. I mean, look at that color. Oh my gosh, so rich, so intense. Let me get a makeup wipe so I don't leave here with green all over my clothes. I didn't choose the right outfit today for applying color. And I'm actually gonna take that same brush that we used in the crease, and I'm just gonna softly run that kind of over that green shadow. I didn't add anything to this brush. I'm really just using this for the purpose of softening those edges, because this brush is super soft. It's so pretty, this color. And this formula is beautiful. When you mix it with that brown that I have in the crease, it kind of tones down the green a little bit. That's another trick to wearing color on the eye. Always put that primary color in your crease. And that primary color is that a neutral that's a few shades darker than your skin tone and matte. If you put that in your crease and then play with color on the lid, it could be green, it could be purple, it could be blue. Having that prime color in your crease is just gonna tone it down. I kind of equate it to, you know, you wanna accessorize and wear color with your outfit. But if you walk in and you've got, you know, green top, green pants, green purse, green shoes, it's just like, oh, a little too much. But if you've paired, you know, a green top with some neutral bottoms and, you know, it's just like, it's just weaving color into a very wearable look. That's kind of what you're doing. Okay, that is so pretty. I almost want to leave it like that, but that would be boring. And we're here to play. So I'm going to take this dark shade here. It's a dark kind of bark brown, rich kind of reddish brown. And we're going to take a little bit of that with another crease brush, but it's much smaller. Do you see the difference in these two brushes? So the smaller brush is gonna have more control, and it's gonna allow me to take a really dark color like that and apply it in an area and have control over it, so I don't apply dark in too large of a space. So we're gonna use this. I'm gonna go back and use the same brush to blend out. This is my little blender guy. This is the guy that's gonna apply it where I want it. I'm gonna take it just on the tip of the brush, and we are gonna just create a little V right here on the outer corner. Create like this little V right there. I don't want to apply too much. If anything, I can always go back and add, but it's harder to correct when you've applied too much. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit. Perfect, okay. Then we're gonna go back in with my blender brush, and we're softly gonna use the tip. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on there. We're just gonna use the tip, and we're gonna go in little bitty circles to kind of blend that out. If I were to use a lot of pressure, then I'm dispersing that dark brown color in a larger surface area. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it right there in that inner corner, so I need to have very light pressure. I don't want these bristles to flatten. I want them to just do the work right there. Brushes are so important, you guys. They really are. I always say, like, you can be the best makeup artist, but if you have terrible tools and brushes, you're really gonna be limited to what kind of look you can create. Whereas on the other side of that, if you're brand new to makeup and you're just getting into makeup for the first time, if you have the right tools, they can do most of the work for you. So we're gonna leave it there. I am gonna take my concealer brush that I use, which is just this big fat concealer, and I'm gonna run it up just to kind of clean up that edge. We can always go back with more concealer, but for now I just wanna clean up that edge. Perfect. Next, I'm gonna take this matte light vanilla shade, and we're gonna highlight the brow bone. I'm gonna place it right under my brow and just kind of run it right underneath my brow hair. This is gonna give a little bit of a soft highlight. I don't like to use shimmer here, especially since I've used shimmer all over the lid. I'm gonna keep this matte. Perfect. Okay. Lovely. I am thinking I want to brighten and kind of make the inner corner pop a little bit. So I'm going to take a pencil brush, and I'm going to take this light shade right here. It's very shimmery. I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of just place it right here in the inner corner to light that area up. It's very similar in color to the champagne cream shadow that we used, but it's more impactful. You know, it's not as sheer as that. So it's basically just kind of emphasizing that right there. Ooh, this is pretty. We're gonna pop some lashes on today and have a lot of fun with this look. Next, we're gonna go in and line the upper lash line, and I'm gonna take my favorite Charlotte Tilbury product. I rave about this product. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you've probably heard me talk about this 57 times. This is the Color Chameleon eye pencil, and this is the shade Amber Haze. I love it so much. I was able to literally find 3 of them right here in this area, and I'm sure I have more at home. I love the color of this. The color of this is just stunning. It is the most gorgeous bronze amber shade. It is so beautiful. This is a chubby eye crayon, so it's thicker than like a precision eyeliner, but I can get a good, just solid eyeliner and wear this alone. You can also use this as an eye crayon, like fill in your whole lid with it if you want to. I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna line my upper lash line with this. Now, because this isn't really necessarily darker than the shadow we have here, I'm gonna go over it with a black shadow. But I'm using this as a kind of a base for my black shadow. So my black shadow has something to adhere to so that I don't have black shadow all over the beautiful foundation that I've done. I'm also gonna use this underneath my lower lash line. And this, we will be able to appreciate the beautiful color because I don't have any shadow there. Isn't that pretty? It's so gorgeous. This is beautiful on all eye colors, blue, green, brown eyes. It's stunning. It just looks like the most beautiful honey amber shade. I love it. Get it. I promise you, if you buy this, you will love this color. You'll come back and say, Lisa, I got that Amber Haze that you talked about. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, next we're gonna go in with the dark black, and I'm gonna use, oh, I don't have it. I will be back. I need a smaller brush for this. So I've got a smaller, more pointy pencil brush, and I'm gonna take just the tip of this. I'm gonna go right into this black. I'm actually gonna mix the black and the brown. That's a trick you can do. I want it to be richer than this brown, but I also wanna soften it a little bit, so I'm gonna mix those two. And then I'm just gonna blot it on my hand just as added insurance, just so I don't apply too much product. That's a really neat little tip you can do pretty much with any color or product. And I'm gonna start on the outer corner, and I'm just gonna sweep it inward. So what we're doing is we are creating more of a eyeliner look. It's because we couldn't really see that first color too much. But I don't want my eyeliner to be too stark. I don't want it to be a big contrast between the shadow. I basically just want my lashes to look really rich and dark, and then it slowly kind of fade a little lighter as you get into the shadow. So I'm really just smudging this in the outer corner, from the very outer corner of the eye over till about halfway to the lash line. You see what that did? This also is kind of a foolproof little hack for smoky liner. It's really easy to do. You don't have to be a pro to accomplish this look. Do you see what that did? It's subtle but impactful. Okay, I'm not gonna curl my lashes because I am gonna pop on falsies today, but I'm gonna go ahead and load the mascara up since we are popping on falsies. And I'm going in with the Pillow Talk push-up lashes and black. And we are gonna load up the lashes. I'm gonna start at the base and just wiggle the brush back and forth so I get a lot of mascara at the base of my lashes, and then I can pull up. So I was gonna put on false lashes, but I honestly don't think that I need them. This mascara is so dramatic, and I didn't put any lash primer on. You guys know I always put on lash primer, but for the sake of doing 100% Charlotte Tilbury, video, get ready with me, Charlotte Tilbury 100%. I don't have a Charlotte Tilbury lash primer, so I skipped it, and I'm shocked by the results that I got in this mascara. Like lots of volume, lots of length, super dramatic. I'm skipping false lashes. Okay, we're gonna finish off with the lips. I have the Pillow Talk lip pencil, so I'm just gonna line the lips. I have a brand new one, so it's nice and sharp. I'm gonna line the lips and kind of overextend my lip line a little bit. When you are overlining your lips, I wanna give a little hack for that. So don't start outside of your lip line. Start on your lip line and then slowly go over and over until that line gets a little bit thicker and extends slightly over the lip. It's gonna look a lot more natural, and also when it wears off, you're not gonna have this like obvious overline around your lip. I'm just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. Okay, perfect. So you see how my lips look more full? I overline the lips, but it looks very, very natural. Okay, I'm really excited about this. This is Charlotte Tilbury's new lippy. This is the Airbrush Blur, and I have the shade Pillow Talk, and I've seen this all over Instagram, and I've seen it applied a few ways. I think the way that I've liked the best is by applying a little bit and then using your finger to kind of blur it and sheer it out. So I'm gonna just kind of do a swipe in the center of the lip, and then I'm gonna use my finger and spread it and blot it around the lip. It just gives this really pretty blurred, kind of pillowy look to the lips versus just like a lacquer all over. I think that's what's really unique about this product, is how it gives that really soft, blurry, kind of pillowy look to the lips. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my God, that's beautiful. So beautiful. And it actually looks a lot lighter on my lips than it looks in the container, doesn't it? Look lighter. I love it. Okay, I was gonna top it with gloss, but I kind of want to leave it. I really love this soft, kind of cloudy, blurry look. Last, we're gonna set everything. I've got a brand new Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I love this spray. This is like completely locking in your makeup for the whole day. It's so, so good. I like to spray it kind of far away. This is a brand new tube, so I gotta get it going. What I love about this one is it really does lock your makeup in all day, and I love the mist. It's super, super fine. You could probably see it on camera. This is 4K, by the way. If you're not watching this in 4K, go down to the little setting wheel on your video, click that, and you can choose which quality you're watching your YouTube videos in. So if you're ever watching YouTube videos and you feel like the quality is not there, check to see which setting you're watching it in, because a lot of times you could see it in a much higher quality. Okay, back to the video. Yeah, this is a really fine mist, so you're not gonna get water droplets on the face. It's not gonna disrupt the makeup. It's truly just gonna set everything and lock it in place. Okay, you guys, that wraps up this look. I love it. It's fun. It's a little bit of color, but it's very neutral, very wearable. I will have all the products that I use and along with the shade names in the description box below if you wanna just hit that little see more or show more, I forget what it says, and it'll drop down and give you all the links to everything that I used. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you, Charlotte Tilbury, for teaming up with me on this video. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.